Okay, what angle is going to make it look like I don't have a chin? It's obviously not this one. It's this one. Oh, look. I'm I'm younger. I'm years younger. So, you guys, here's the funny thing. Today is, and I'm saying this for the people who are watching the recording of this via YouTube after I've done it, talking to the people in the future. Tuesday, October 22nd, 7 a.m. Good morning. Now, the funny thing is, um, my Tuesday schedule is a little bit different today because I rescheduled a paying client of mine rescheduled her session, and so it's thrown me into like, oh, there's something different. Usually I have a bit of a groove, a bit of a routine, as it were. Good morning, spreading sunshine. Nice to see you. Um, I thought in my head, this is a really interesting thing. This is why I'm sharing it. My head was telling me that I had an hour between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. to go for a walk. My head was wrong. Thank God I don't just rely on my head, but I wrote down my schedule for the day. Now, I do have an hour between sessions to go for a walk, but that isn't now. Now I was like, oh my goodness, thank God I wrote down that I was doing a TikTok live. Because left to my own devices, left to my own brain, and not writing it down, I would totally be ghosting you guys. Without malice, I would have, a town called Malice. Town called Malice. Um, I wouldn't have meant it. It wasn't mean, but I would have. If I leave my thoughts in my brain, whoosh, sometimes they get kind of twisted up. Now I share this with you because writing down what's going on increases the likelihood that you're going to do these things versus just keeping it in the spaghetti pot of your head. Okay? Now, Ellen, nice to see you, and thank you for reminding me of your name being Ellen when I see the little dog nose and the me, so thank you. And I love that you're glad to see me so early. Yeah, so my routine on Tuesdays typically is I have a client. So I do one-on-one coaching with decluttering life coach clients all over the country, and we coach on Zoom. Can you imagine if we didn't coach on Zoom? I'd be like Phil Collins at Live Aid. I'd be taking the Concorde from Virginia to California, back to where am I going? Minnesota to New York, all in one day. Couldn't do it. Thank goodness for Zoom. So I tend to be an early bird, and even if I wasn't an early bird, I have one client who I enjoy working with so much that I show up with her early. Notice the things we do to get the stuff we want. So here I am. It's 7:04 in the morning. I've already had some tea. It's running kind of low, but I will make the best of it. And if we haven't met before, I know it's still early in the morning. I will probably get a little bit more ramped up as we go. But if you haven't met me before, my name is Beth. I am a decluttering life coach who coaches people on Zoom one-on-one, and I do these TikTok lives. My coaching here on TikTok and pretty much everywhere else for that kind of brand, what is it, brand consistency is called Destination Decluttered. Now, why is it called Destination Decluttered? Yeah, rev that engine. Vroom, vroom, right. Yeah, I'm still warming up my engine. But me talking and nobody else talking back to me, woo, that'll get my engine going. Get your motor running. Riding down the highway, looking for adventure and whatever comes your way. I think it's fun sometimes to sing rock and roll songs in a lounge voice. I don't know. Anyhow, I like to make coaching fun. It's not all I want to do, but I really truly enjoy it because it's fun. This is so unlike any job I've ever had because it's not a job, it's a calling, it's a career. I'm here to help you. I am showing up at 7 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time, because I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Pennsylvania, near Philly, closer to Philly than Pittsburgh, but still East Coast time zone. I'm here for like another 55 minutes to help you. Not to help myself. I got my own stuff to do right next to me. I've got my stuff to do. But this is an hour of my time that I am sharing with you. You have access to my brain. You have access to my process. If you're stuck with clutter, let's find out where you're stuck and how can I help you get moving again. Think of me, this is the road trip part of me too, is think of me like AAA. I'm the American Automobile Society. If you're stuck in the mud on the side of the road and you can't seem to move forward with your clutter, if you call me, Call me. Look at me, I'm old school because I'm making a phone like that, like it goes in the thing, versus little kids would probably say phones are shaped like this. So I am here to help you get out of the rut of your stuckness of not being able to declutter. Now, notice if we were actually in a car environment. This is the power of the road trip metaphor that drives through my life. Well, a car can run too, but I think of running like that. If I was, let's say, the AAA, we would first start with the easiest thing, which would be I wouldn't get out the tow truck immediately. What I would do is say, okay, you sit behind the wheel. I will be here to push a little bit. And while I'm pushing, you do something different. Things are different when you have some help. Okay? Things are different when you have some help. So I am your help. If you've never met me before, maybe the universe sent me. Oh, because the universe knew you were struggling with clutter. Good morning, Monk. Good morning, everyone. So where are you jammed up? Declutter-wise, where are you not moving forward? If you're on the road to your destination decluttered, where are you stopped? Now, I know a couple of places where you're probably stopped, and if I was going to make like a Candyland version of the journey to destination decluttered, you'd probably be in the molasses swamp. You would probably be in the overpass of overwhelm. You'd be in the fear of moving forward. The I can't do it, it's so much kind of mode. Jam up and jelly tight. You got it. You got it. I was like, tighten up. I started singing, not tighten up. I said that to somebody in an elevator recently in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We were trying to cram in. We had just gone to the roof deck of this hotel to see the sunset, and then the sun set, and then we're all leaving. So it was like, okay, come on, people, tighten up, tighten up. When you discover where you're stuck, that's the beginning of knowing where you need your help. Now, if I were AAA, I'd be like, come into your car. Why aren't you moving? Do you have gas in your tank? Gas in your tank is always a great start. You know? Okay, Chrissy C. Jump, I love you that you said this. I start and stop. Cars do that as well. I'm able to declutter, and then I am unable to do anything. Anything. Get curious about when you are unable to do anything. I lean into these vague words because vague words can hide a lot of specifics. So think of a specific time maybe, Chrissy. And you don't, again, when I say this, I never do this to force anybody to communicate with me at this TikTok live during the using the comments. I ask you questions so that you can ask yourself questions and you can notice what your answers are. So think of a specific time, not just, I generalize. I was decluttering and then I stopped. When was the last time you stopped and why did you stop? When was the last time you stopped your car? Now, was it because you pulled into the driveway after a fun day of driving around and you felt good? Or is it because you stopped on the side of the road because you ran out of gas or you got a flat tire or there was something that was not working in your engine? Okay? Think about this. When was the last time you were decluttering? When did you maybe not even start? And I'm going to offer to you that if it wasn't your physical body saying, I am exhausted, Lord, I've been saying this to my husband lately, working in a coal mine, Lord, I am so tired. Now, I'm doing the Devo version because I'm Gen X. But what stopped you? Because then you can learn from what stops you and get started again. Now, usually what stops me will be my physical energy. I am tired. I don't want to do that. If I have the energy and I choose not to declutter, it's because there's maybe a shiny object. There's something else I'd rather do with my time. Now, I don't say don't chase after the shiny objects. This is why I'm a decluttering life coach. Good morning, Karen. Nice to see you. I am a Gen X based, because I just saw you're a Gen X health and wellness. I'm a Gen X based decluttering coach. And I'm also a life coach. Now, I say that because I am not showing up in your life saying, declutter, 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 no fun until you declutter. No, fuck that. No. I say have fun and get it done. So go out and have the fun, but also the decluttering will make your life easier. It will look better, it will function better, and it will feel better when you are decluttering and when you are decluttered. Destination decluttered. Notice that. I just live decluttered. I encourage you to think about right now, you may be giving a bad rap to decluttering. You're thinking of how much it sucks. You may not realize the benefits, the cool things that decluttering can do for you when you show up to do it. So here, I will extol the virtues of decluttering. And the first one I mentioned to me is important because we are visual creatures. But many people often think that this is the only layer of decluttering there is, and this is what it is how it looks. No, we are visual creatures unless you don't have eyesight, and I apologize. But you can observe things through your other senses, how it smells, how it's the texture, the breeze or lack thereof, the heat. Involving your senses to say, how does my home look? And notice that when it looks better to you, you're going to feel better. When you look at a pile of laundry on the floor, how do you feel? When you look at those same clothes, folded up and put away, how do you feel? Which one of those feelings do you choose? I'm always going to choose, I want to feel better. I have spent enough decades of my life listening to the Smiths and feeling crappy. I am saying, traffic cop hand, the buck stops here. No, I want to feel better. Because when I feel better, I feel better. And feel better, when I feel better, I do better. Now, Monk Month says definitely I feel better when it looks clean and when it is clean. And notice, how do you feel when your house looks cluttered? I invite you to even write that down. Write down how it feels how you feel, not it feels. How it feels seems abstract. How do you feel when your home is cluttered? Write that down and then flip the record. What's on the flip side of that? What's the opposite of that? This is why it's important to pull over and not drive until you know where you're going and why you're heading there. This is the prep work for a road trip to a place you want to go to, and we're setting you up for success. We are putting some gas in your tank to get excited about going there. That is a road trip. A road trip is getting in your car and driving to some place you want to go to and you're excited to get there. It's not a 6-hour drive to drive. I don't know, where's 6 hours from now? I won't say Boston because let's say I'm going to Ohio. I could be driving 6 hours to go to a big, important, boring, conference. No, not even a conference. Let's say I'm driving 6 hours to a job I hate. Versus I'm driving 6 hours to go to stay in a cool little motel, have dinner with my friends, and go to a fun event. The time spent driving is the same. It feels different depending upon the destination. Okay? Yeah, strong silver soul sister. Yeah, that joke isn't funny. Yes, heaven knows I'm miserable now. Yes, and you know what? Oftentimes, how about this one? I'm so unlovable, you don't have to tell me. I'm so unlovable. Love yourself enough to freaking declutter your home for you. Okay? Now, I love this. Notice how it can feel good. Teresa says, I cleaned an area in my dining room yesterday, no clutter, and it made me feel good. We want to be more, in this time of my life, I want you to feel more James Brown than, this is so funny. I want you to feel more James Brown than the Smiths. However, I just saw Jonathan Richman last week. He's a deep cut for many people, but he has this song called I Was Dancing in a Lesbian Bar, and it's like, at this place it was this way, in this place it was that way. So it's like, at this place they were playing the Smiths, at this place they were playing James Brown. I know it doesn't rhyme, but think about it. Going to a nightclub where they're playing mopey, crappy, sad music, you're going to feel mopey, sappy, sad, and crappy. If you go to a nightclub and they're playing James Brown and, I got the nightlife and you can do it, you're going to feel better. Okay? So notice the difference. Laura Gibbon Voorhees shares, I feel uncomfortable when it's cluttered, calm and happy when it is tidy, organized, and simplified. I would also offer to your list of good things is if you feel uncomfortable when it's cluttered, you will feel comfortable when it's decluttered. All right? And there, okay, so here's the funny thing. Annie is saying, this is interesting. I feel so good and I love the new decluttered areas, so now I avoid the cluttered ones. I offer to you, transform the currently cluttered ones into decluttered ones like you did the other ones. You can do it. Yeah, decluttered. I just can't get enough. That song always makes me tap my toes. You know? Now, Vintage Violet Rose 7 says, I am awakening from a huge loss of my dad and then my husband. Hun, that is a huge loss. It is. You're finally tackling the piles, and I feel so proud. Yeah. I will share with you. My dad passed away 14 years ago yesterday. Yesterday was the 14th anniversary of his passing, and when I went to bed last night, I had had a good day. I did some coaching. I did a TikTok live. I helped my mother with her clutter long distance. I set up some stuff, and I went to bed, and I said out loud, because I would say my husband wasn't home. He wasn't home, but I would have said it even if he was. I said, Dad, I hope you're proud of me. And I said, and I choose to believe that you are. You're looking down at me from heaven and saying, wow, you're kicking ass. It may not have been what he said in real life, and I said, and even if you're not proud of me, I choose to be proud of me. I had a good day. I made some good stuff happen. Okay? Annie, you can do that. You can get to the cluttered places, you know? Vintage Violet Rose, feeling so proud of yourself. Feel proud of when you show up to declutter, especially when you don't think it's that easy. Showing up to do hard things. You can do hard things. You can. Okay. Now, Monk Monk says, excited to go on a trip to decluttering, but when the layover hits, it's hard to keep going. Now, you see, I love a layover. I want you to have fun during your layovers. I do. Go to a lounge. Go to a lounge. Get some rest. Get some perspective so that when you go back into the decluttering, you have stretched your legs. You have rehydrated. You've taken a rest. You're enjoying every part of your journey. How can you get some joy in it? You know? And I love the fact that Vintage Violet Rose is showing that, like I guess it came from the Bible, but I don't read that book a lot. But the birds once opined in the 60s, to everything turn, turn, turn. There is a time for you to declutter, and there's a time for you to heal yourself from the huge loss of death. But check yourself before you wreck yourself. Look at me. The caffeine must be hitting because I'm talking in musical languages right here. Are you stopping decluttering because you seriously need to recover from something traumatic, or you're exhausted and you need to get some energy? Or are you just kind of dragging your feet? Are you just kind of making excuses versus having legit reasons for doing it? Notice, excuse me, what's a reason and what's an excuse? Okay? Yeah. And Vintage Violet Rose says, I allowed myself that time, but now, what was he, Johnny Rivers? Was it Johnny Rivers? I can see clearly now the rain is gone. Well, that's too high for me this morning, and I don't even sing well. But notice what Johnny Rivers said. I can see all obstacles in my way. It's good. When you see the obstacles in your way, you can better plan for when you get up to them. Are you going to get out of the car and move it to the side? Or are you going to drive around it to keep yourself going? Or are you going to allow that obstacle to keep you stuck and be like, well, I can't move forward. There's an obstacle. There's something in the road. I cannot go forward. There is a log in the road. There are some bricks piled up in the road. I cannot move further. Or are you going to be like, I want to get to that place, so I'm going to get out of my car and move those bricks a brick at a time to the side of the road. I'm going to clear the place, and now I'm going to move on. One of the differences is going to be if you really want to get to your destination or not. Okay? Now, KB7029, you have an idea of a certain route to get you to your destination decluttered. Your map involves decluttering your house and bringing it all to a storage unit. Yeah, that is a way to get there. But what you're doing, I'm not saying it's wrong. I try to check myself before I wreck myself. I don't want to declutter shame anybody. What I want to offer, though, is from my professional and personal experience, because don't forget, this is what I'm good at. This is how I do it, is if you are taking the clutter from your house and kind of en masse moving it to a storage unit, you are not decluttering really. You're kind of fake decluttering. Because to me, the way I coach, decluttering is decision making. Now, I don't know your process. Your process could include making decisions about what goes into storage and what doesn't. But notice, decluttering, decision making. I want you to remember that. Deciding, what is this thing? Do I want it? That's a decision. You're making a decision tree at work. If I want it, yes, I want it. Okay, if I want it, where does it go? If I don't want it, where does it go? So I am having a feeling you're not feeling so confident in this approach that your brain came up with. It's not a professional declutterer because you've got the little like yikes emojis after them. Okay? Now Sia says, I have to take a break after I declutter because my ADHD brain is exhausted. Now notice that, let's run that through the road trip metaphorizer, okay? Now, I know so much about the ADHD brain because I probably have one. I haven't been diagnosed, so that's why I say probably. But man, I live with it. I grew up with it. I'm surrounded by it here on TikTok and in coaching. What I want to offer to you is, Sia, if your decluttering journey with your ADHD brain was a road trip, this sounds like to me you get in the car and you're driving until your tank is empty. And then you have to stop and you've exhausted. Notice, I'm exhausted my gas tank. My gas tank is empty. And then I have to wait for it to replenish. Now, I'm not going to also brain shame you. What I want to offer you, though, is that when you have an ADHD wired brain, you tend to drive forward in a certain way to make up for the times when you're not driving. What I like to introduce is that little bit at a time type thing that also will get you going so you will be able to fill up a little bit versus just running and then stalling out because you have no gas left. Okay, so KB029, this is, notice how words can mean something, but words can say something, but you don't know the meaning until you look at the emojis. So now you've got the face palm ones. Yes, but now the storage unit is full. Yes. Yes, and Vintage Violet is probably coming from a place of of camaraderie, of being there. Please understand, then you are paying rent and ignoring it. Yes, ignoring it. You're not deciding and decluttering. And then the someday I'll clean and organize the storage unit never happens. So yeah, you're just pushing the decisions out somewhere else. And now you're already paying a mortgage on your house, probably. You're also now paying rent on a place where to make the decisions. Okay, so Vintage Violet Rose is saying, yes, I just did that. Now, sometimes storage units can be beneficial. I say this because they are supposed to be temporary. But notice how easy they make it for you to just get on auto pay and avoid the decisions. And they are making money from you not making decisions. Now, I was much more of a new waiver in the 80s, but man, was I punk rock adjacent, okay? And I say F you to the man when it's you're getting money from me because I am scared to make a decision. No. I'm going to take that back and I'm going to start making decisions, and I'm going to be all punk rock, and I'm going to clean out that storage unit, and I'm going to decide what goes back in my house, if anything. I'm going to decide what leaves that storage unit and gets donated somewhere else. And I'm going to feel good about it, and I'm going to reclaim my time and my power to make a decision. Decision making is a skill, and it is a power. You know? So notice you have a thought in your head, KB7029. Someday I'll clean and organize the storage unit. Never happens. Probably one of the reasons why someday is not a day of the week. I heard that from somebody. I thought it was kind of funny. Notice that you have a thought in your head that is not panning out. This is where coaching, this is where I love to lean in. getting curious as to why you don't get to it. What is your thought about what decluttering is? What is your thought about why I'm doing this? What is your fear of maybe being overwhelmed, of not having the answers, of feeling feelings? All of those things can contribute to not doing something that you say up here, oh, someday I'll do that. Well, I haven't done it yet, you know? Yeah. Okay. And I love this because I love it when other people have gone through the journey, the road trip of decluttering, show up and also give their info, because it's not just me telling you this, it's sharing my experience. I used to have a basement full of clutter. I used to have a garage full of clutter. We never paid for storage because we had those spaces, but man, did we pay for it in stress and feeling bad. Vintage Violet Rose is coming out of recovering from the loss of her husband and her dad and is decluttering. And she says, you tell yourself you're going to get there and you go through bins. And I didn't, but I finally accomplished it. Yeah, I will do it one day, and that day ends in Y. Someday, some way. Yeah, Marshall Crenshaw, love that song. How about Monday, Tuesday? Let's make it specific, okay? Annie says, why would decision-making be so difficult? Because we're not robots. We have hearts. We have brains and hearts. We have heads and hearts, because I like an alliteration. Decision-making means saying yes to something, and if you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Decision-making may cause you to feel a feeling. It's not as easy of, do I want it, yes or no? You're not a machine. You're a human. And your decision maker is this rub your tubby, pat your head thing that I'm doing right now. It's the thoughts in your head playing nice with the feelings in your heart. This is your decision maker right here. Your decision making is here. If you don't make a decision, your hands do not move and they do not make decisions, true good decisions about things that you really want to save and really want to release. Okay? Yeah. And Abbott Elementary says, I like the saying, it's living rent-free in my head and my home. Yeah. So notice that behind every decision is a thought and a feeling. How about that? What is the thought behind your decision? What is the feeling behind your decision? If you're afraid of thinking and feeling, you're not going to make any decisions. I don't want to, I can't. It's going to hurt. Why does decision-making have to hurt and cause pain? How about decision-making can get you to where you want to go to? Yeah. Sia says decision-making is affected by trauma, beliefs, guilt, etc., and a lot to work through, but it is possible. Oh, hell yeah. Working through the trauma means you got through to the other side of the trauma, and then it's like, again, when I was talking about the road trip to decluttering kind of being like a candy land, instead of like the swamp, the molasses swamp, I'm sure they call it something different nowadays, when you work through that, when instead of shying away from it and not dealing with it, when you work through it, you are making progress. You are moving closer to being on the other side of it and being able to more freely just drive through life, cruising down the highway. You know? Now, Ms. Turbo says, I'm tired of walking sideways through my home to get through the room. Yeah. So notice that tiredness. How would you rather feel when you're walking through your home? I don't want to feel tired. I don't want to walk sideways. Now, there's a song, maybe my Gen Xers, my Gen X music people, walking backwards. Was that Throwing Muses? Was that Dangerous Birds? It wasn't Romeo Void. That's where my brain goes. But notice that if you're tired of walking sideways through your room, you can do something about it. That's really my message to you, Rudy. Okay? If there's something bugging you in your life, clutter-wise and mostly otherwise, you can do something about it. Yeah, and Sia, you're still working on it. We're all always going to be working through it. I myself, I don't come from, look, I'm fixed, I'm perfect. No. You will have thoughts in your head that will make you feel a feeling. Did you hear me a few moments ago saying, hey, Dad, I hope you're proud of me. Notice there's a fear, because I said, even if you're not, I'm afraid that my dad is not proud of my life. And my dad is dead. He lives on in my heart. But notice that even all of us for the rest of our lives will, and I don't want to say wrestle with or tackle, I want to say we will live with the way our brain works, thoughts and feelings wise. But we can influence what it does. We can quiet down the unhelpful thoughts and we can crank it up on the more helpful thoughts. Not to drown them out, but to listen to them and quiet them down and then turn up the fun. You can do something about what's bugging you in your life, and it starts in your head and it starts with your heart before it ever turns to moving an object in your house. You know? So Sashnak Yorkie Kennel says, but I have racked up, I thought you said Beth. Beth, I have racked up, but I have racked up some fabric and lost interest for some reason for right now. That's cool. Notice that you had an interest in the fabric and right now you don't. Okay? Why don't you have the interest? And I would suggest, because I just got out of coaching and I'm just getting into coaching when this TikTok live is done, instead of telling me, writing it down in the comments, write it on a piece of paper to yourself. Yeah, I lost interest for some reason. What is that some reason? Do not judge yourself. Just get curious what that reason is. Curiosity allows you to write it down, and then you can notice what caused you to stop. Now, I love this. Laura Gibbon Voorhees just threw away a bottle of hand soap that has been annoying me. Yes, get rid of the shit that annoys you. Then your house will not be filled with things that annoy you, and you'll be left with just the stuff that doesn't annoy you. Yeah. Now, Amy says, the secret lies within belief that you can do it, and believing is the real foundation that you can get through it. Yeah, and belief to me is that the words in your head aligning with the feeling in your heart. That's a belief. Words in your head without your feelings is just words. Words that never were true, right? You can say something up here, but unless you feel it down here, you're going to be 50-50. It's going to be that those words will only last for so long. Unless you engage your nervous system and you have buy-in from the crew down here in the factory, you're going to get a little bit farther, and as soon as things start to get tough, if it's only words and they don't have anything to back it up, you're going to stop. Okay, so Vintage Violet Rose says, I can hear my husband's voice. How long are you going to trip over that bin? And I love that you said lol, because yeah, you could cry about that, but you could also laugh about it. You're like, yeah, hon, I know, I should probably do something. Have a conversation with your husband. Look at me. My dad's been gone 14 years. My dad and I have probably talked to each other more, in my head, in my heart, more than he's been dead than when he was alive. My dad was the silent generation. Silent. So I fill in the blanks. If my dad were alive, this is what I would want him to say. Okay, Felicia, intentionally me, decluttering gives me anxiety and fear. I don't know why. It's worth it to find out. I know what makes an ocean wave. It's fun to find out. Okay? So if it gives you some anxiety and fear, if you don't want anxiety and fear, find out why. Just get curious. And it isn't like, Pandora's box. You can peek open one thought, one phrase in your head that causes you to feel the fear and the anxiety. What is it? Okay? Now, Molly Moy Squires says, I just have no motivation. So stuck. Okay, Molly Moy Squires, I will ask you this. If you have no motivation, do you know what your destination is? Because to me, if you know where you're headed and you're excited to get there, that, my friend, is motivation. So this is why I call my coaching Destination Decluttered, is because it really helped me to think of the various journeys in my life as a road trip instead of just mindlessly driving in circles or to drive towards something I was dreading. That was the big game changer for me in my kind of personal life coaching wise, my own coaching that I paid for and the own coaching that I got free and the TikTok lives that I listened to, was realizing that I was scared and dreading my future. When I looked ahead, I didn't see the future that I wanted. I was afraid of it. I was dreading it. It felt awful. And I thought, well, I don't know what I can do about all that, but how about my clutter? And I said, you know what? I want to make my house look better. I want this room to look like I want it to look now. Not like it looked when I wanted it to look like when I first moved in, but how do I want this room to look now? And then I said, let's take it a level deeper. How do I want it to function? I want to be able to sit down and immediately get to doing whatever my work is. I want to have a little place to spread out. I want to look at inspirational things. But I also want just some clean, open spaces so the clutter isn't always talking at me. Everybody's talking at me. So if you're not motivated or you're fearful, you're probably not moving forward. So before you even start your journey, figure out why you're stuck. But don't stay in stuck figuring out mode. When you get an inkling of what is stopping you and you can change that, then move forward. Yeah, it's the expressway to your heart. It is belief plus heart. I call it your head, your heart, and your hands. You know? Yorkie Kennels says, we are also in a tiny home while we build our new home on family land beside us. Cool. Notice the size of your home can make it easier or more difficult to declutter. Because you will notice the clutter that piles up in a tiny home a lot quickly than you will if you live in a mansion. That you can ignore things. You can shut doors to rooms that you never deal with. Notice those things. Okay? What do we got here? Nursey Nita, nice to see you. Yeah. Yeah, sister, me too. I started and dropped the ball. Okay, so if you started and dropped the ball, I'm not a sports person, but I would say, unless it's soccer, pick up the ball. See, I'm kind of sporty because I knew you're not supposed to touch the soccer ball with your hands. If you've dropped the ball, pick it up. If you've fallen off the wagon, get back on the wagon. If you've fallen off the horse, get back on the horse. If you ran out of gas, get gas in your tank. Those are things all in your control. Okay, so I also have a ton of makeup. I'm not motivated to put it on or to use it. Okay, why? Write it down. Why? Notice where your lack of motivation is coming from. You can push yourself. You can force yourself to put on makeup, but that's totally surface. If you don't feel like it, now I don't feel like putting on makeup because I don't care about it, but I feel good. I don't feel guilted into I have a lot of makeup. That's me. You notice I don't show up with a lot of makeup on because I also want to be, maybe I'm like taking a page out of Pamela Anderson's book. I want to get the human eye used to looking at an aging face without makeup. Do I wear makeup sometimes? I do. Not all the time. I wear it when I want to. Get curious about why you are stopped. And don't be afraid, and don't let I don't know have the final word. Okay? Cat Mama spent so much time cellar cleaning and painting. I chose to be out working in the yard last several weeks, of course. Because, oh my gosh, it is so nice out, right? So unusual. She's so unusual. Cyndi Lauper. You guys, I have to digress. This was wicked funny. I saw a comment on one of my TikToks from the woman who I went for a massage with yesterday. I didn't even know she was talking about it. I was talking about my one divine hammer. And she says she has, because she also sews fabric and stuff like that. She says she has a pair of loppers that she calls her Cyndi Loppers. So she's unusual. So unusual. The weather here on the East Coast, in the Northeast, I still grandfather myself into the Northeast, even though technically I'm in the Mid-Atlantic. My body's in the Mid-Atlantic, but I got a Northeast brain. The weather has been so delightful. Get out and play. Don't force yourself to be down the cellar when the weather's nice. Go out and play, but you can do stuff there. You know? Boop. Okay. Now this is funny. I'm not a big makeup fan, and I don't wear eyeshadow. So Yorkie Kennels says shadow palettes. Now I was like, what? That's what? I think of palettes like, you know, that you stack things on. And then, remember the song Shadow Dancing by Andy Gibb? That's what came into my head. But notice what a shadow palette does. It says you've got all these colors to choose from. You probably only use a handful of those, except for maybe on Halloween. Notice that you have all this stuff in your house and you use but a fraction of it. So just notice that. We're all wired that way. So notice what you use and take good care of it. Notice the stuff you don't use and get curious why you don't use it. Oh, purple eyeshadow looks horrible on me. No, I won't use it. I like this one over here. I will use what looks good. I feel good when I look good. Those clothes, I don't wear them because they are too big. I have lost weight and now they're floating around my body and my pants are falling down. Notice the reasons why you do things and notice the reasons why you don't do things. And I'll give you two heavy hitters here. The basis of all decisions, fear or love. That's the flip side. Kind of like Davy Jones, flip side. Fear or love? Are you doing something because you have a fear? Or are you doing something out of love? Now I was thinking about this because this came up. Fear can be a motivator for you to do something in the name of love. And I mean it in a really sincere, good, clean way. Okay? But I digress. Now I love this. Vintage Violet Rose is also, again, she's gone through the journey. I'm assuming you're a she. If you're not, I'll take that on. Take on me. Vintage Violet Rose 7 is saying, by the way, I sold all the contents of the bins and made $980 towards a new stove, and I never missed it. I never missed the contents of the bins, and then I got almost $1,000 to buy a new stove. Yeah, notice the benefit, the monetary benefit you can get from decluttering. I have decluttered stuff. I have opened up a box my husband didn't open since his parents passed away. We found some broken gold jewelry. We sold that. We made a couple of $1,000. We split it with his brother. Look at decluttering as a treasure hunt. And not just the monetary treasures, but discovering stuff about yourself. You know? Felicia, if you're all tuned in, speaking of tuning in, I do TikTok lives pretty much every day, except for when I don't, because I travel and I have my own life. But I show up on TikTok doing this a lot. I'm also on the flip side like you guys, and I'm scrolling, and I'm looking for things that help me or inspire me. So if you like what you're hearing from me, know that I do these TikTok lives a lot, and I do occasionally post kind of a recorded video when I get inspired to do that. Destination Decluttered is me here on TikTok, but also if you want to see what other TikTok lives are like, and when I'm not on doing a TikTok live, there is a library full of my TikTok lives recorded on YouTube at Destination Decluttered. Now, if you want to know when I'm doing a TikTok live, hop on my free mailing list. People on the free mailing list, you get on it by going to destinationdecluttered.com, which is my website, destinationdecluttered.com, and there's a little space on the bottom of the homepage. You just put in your email address. When you do that, you'll get the link to find the schedule for my TikTok lives. Now, today's Tuesday, so I have one today. I have a handful more between now and next week. I'm doing some traveling, so I don't have some. But if you want to be like, oh, this was kind of fun, I want to tune into that show. Think of it as like the TV guide. It will show you when I'm on next live. Okay? Yep. Oops. All right, we're backing up. I'm catching up with some stuff. All right. Somebody's planting tiny bulbs today? Yeah. I planted bulbs a couple of weeks ago because I thought we had the first frost, and now it's like 80 degrees yesterday. Oh, you live in the Finger Lakes. Interesting. I have friends who are going up there to Watkins Glen sometime, I think, this weekend. Yeah. All right. So, Yorkie Kennels. I have like 30 pallets that I haven't been used at all. All right. Dudes, curiosity is going to change your life. I am a genuinely curious person. So if I were you, I would just sit with myself, not in judgment. Judgment is under the umbrella of fear. Curiosity is under the umbrella of love. And I live under the umbrella of love. Curiosity. Why did I buy 30 pallets and why haven't I used them at all? Now, the good news is about stuff you haven't used even once is that stuff is going to be easier to donate if you decide to let any of them go. But notice right now, your decision, notice where my hand goes organically. When I'm talking about decisions, it goes to my heart. Because you had an idea of why you bought that pallet, but then you had an idea and a thought and a feeling. You had a thought in your head and a feeling in your heart when you bought the pallet. You had a thought in your head and a feeling in your feeler, a feeling in your heart when you decided not to use them. What are they? Discover those things. Okay? There we go. I love it. Okay, thank you. Vintage Violet Rose is a woman. Thank you. And love the music innuendos. Oh, honey, you're in the right place. My brain is a constant radio. And it comes out because I think it's fun to connect. I like it when people know my musical references. Actually, it is one of the things I got from my dad and my mom. You know? All right. So, Amy says, I love the way you love doing these lives. Your enthusiastic energy is very motivating and fun. Yeah, because you know what? I don't want to do anything that's boring. If I have to do something that's boring, I try to make it entertaining, or I try to make it take up as the least amount of time as possible. Notice the difference in energy that you can bring to anything. And I'm not talking about being yippee skippy and, all the, sunshine and lollipops all the time. But man, it makes it feel better when you're doing something. If I didn't want to be here, I would be bringing a bad energy to this. If I was told from my job that I had to get on TikTok at 7 a.m. in the morning and chat with people to convert people to sales, I'd be like, yeah, hey, so here I am. What do you got? I can help you. Notice even the tone of my voice kind of dims the shine. But I truly love what I do because I know what it's like to be cluttered. I know now how to help you with it because I went through not the trauma, I meant like the trials and tribulations of doing it wrong and then finding a way to do it better. I have a better way of decluttering now that all I'm waiting for is people to be like, really? Can you help me? Oh, hell yeah. If you want to be helped, I can help you. And some people I help through coaching, some people I help through, the occasional free stuff, and a lot of people I help with my paid coaching. Because one-on-one is the best way for you to understand what you're doing and to get that true help. It's like going to the gym and putting yourself on a treadmill versus taking a class versus getting a personal trainer. Doing it yourself, having some companionship, or saying, you know what, I'm going to get a personal trainer. I'm like the personal trainer for your decluttering. How's that? Okay. Oh, very cool. I love it. Laura Gibbons Voorhees is talking about Finger Lakes. Love it. There we go. I love it. Notice what can help you sometimes. Joy Ginger was feeling anxious. So she said, I'm starting an anti-anxiety medication. It calmed my brain. Now I'm everyday decluttering. Notice when you quiet down your brain, when you calm down your brain, you can do more things. You can take action. Okay? I love it. There we go. And I love it that also Laura Gibbons Voorhees says, you know what? I need to remember my goal. Now, when I say destination, you say goal, I say destination. Your goal, I want my piano room to be neat and decluttered so I can read in peace. See, it's not just about how your house looks. It isn't. Not for me anyway. There's plenty of people that will can help you make it look good on the surface. I want it to look good in your storage, and I want it to look and feel good. I want you to feel good when you look at the surface and when you look at what you've stored in your house. I want you to feel good no matter where you are in your home. I want you to feel good that you know you can maintain this, not just when we are coaching or not just when people are over, but you are keeping your house looking and functioning good for yourself for the rest of your life. Because you feel better. You can read in peace. You can do things with peace in your mind and space to do things. Like reading in your piano room. Nurse Anita totally cleaned out the refrigerator yesterday. So clean and so many expired items. Yeah, you guys probably don't know this because I did some videos. They didn't work out like I wanted to, but I decluttered one shelf of our cupboard in spices over the weekend. Man, was that eye-opening in a lot of ways. It was eye-opening how quickly the time passes. My husband was like, I can't believe it. I just bought that stuff. I feel like I just bought that, cayenne pepper. And I said, yeah, but look, here's the expiration date. And I even wrote down the month and year that we bought it because time goes by. 2 years, like that. Sometimes you buy things thinking I'm going to use all of this, like eyeshadow, and you use a little bit. And then by the time you don't use it, it expires. So notice that every day, time is passing. I say this to kind of giving you a loving kick in the ass, okay? Because you are not getting any younger. I am not either. So let's make the most of our time that we have left together. Quality versus quantity. So every day you wake up and you're feeling good about what you're doing, that you get out of bed and your bedroom looks good. You walk down the hall looks good. Walk into the bathroom looks good. You go into the kitchen looks good. And all of that time where it looks good to you, you know that if you opened a drawer in your kitchen to find something, you're going to find it. You open a door in your bathroom to pull out a towel, you're going to find a towel that's clean and you like to use it. Decluttering increases the quality of life that you have for the rest of your life. Feeling good about it. Yeah, it's how it feels when you're living in it, in good times and in bad. Yeah, when you're feeling bad, your house can be a solace. Your house can be a place where you shut the windows and the doors and you curl up in a blanket and you cry because of loss, and your house can be a wonderful place to return to after you've been traveling, turn it into a place that helps you live life, not makes it more difficult. Yeah. Now I love it. Vintage Violet Rose is really going through the journey, people. She lost her husband. She lost her dad. And she says, yes, I was sick of apologizing to visitors and friends. I now feel proud to invite them in. Yeah. And Cat Mama, you're still there, but man, Cat Mama, just think about that road trip thing. You and I know because you show up for these TikTok lives. If you're truly doing all the stuff you say you're doing when you're coming on here, think of how much further along in your journey and closer you are to your destination decluttered than you were on June 22nd of this year. Notice how much further along you are. Are you there yet? No, but hopefully you're feeling good about what you're doing so you don't mind not being there yet. You're enjoying the journey. You know? Yeah. And people are saying, yes, I'm still there. I want to get to that point. Yes. If you feel that frustration, use that as an energy. Johnny Lydon, public image. Anger is an energy. Frustration is an energy. I'm sick of feeling this way. I want to feel another way. You can do something about it. Now, my process that I share all the time on these TikTok lives can help you when you feel ready. So even Cat Mom is saying, yes, I am further ahead. You're right. I am further ahead than I was in September, in August, in July, in June. Look at me being fancy, being able to count the steps, the months back. Feel good about what you've done so far, decluttering, with the skills that you currently have. You are doing the best you can with the skills and tools you have. I show up because if you're stuck, I just want to let you know that there are different skills you can use. Learn. There are tools, different tools you don't know exist yet, but you can use those tools to help you get unstuck to continue to move forward. Yeah, Vintage Violet Rose, you are a lot like a lot of us. I had to sell my parents' house of 68 years, both Depression era, tons of clutter, and you said, I don't want this. I don't want this. You know? Yeah, that's what they did. You guys, Gen X, I have to identify myself as Gen X because you hear it immediately in my way of life, in the way I talk, in my pop culture references. I lean into that. But I also say that because if you are a Gen Xer, you probably have old people in your life that are going to die soon, and they maybe not, they ignored their clutter. Now their clutter is going to be your problem. You also maybe, as I like to say, we are the double stuff in the Oreo of life. There may be another layer behind you, which is the younger generation. Now, I don't have kids, but I have nieces and nephews, so they're kind of my kids by proxy in this metaphor. I don't want to leave my house to burden my nieces and nephews. I don't want to have them have to go through what I'm going through with my mother, with my stuff. I'm going to leave them. I've already planned it. One tote of stuff that is family history, and then anything else in my house. If they truly want anything, it's theirs. If they don't want a damn thing, that is fine. And then I swear to God, I want them to just open the doors and tell people to come in and take what they want. Unless they want to sell the stuff to make some money, that's up to them. Okay? Let's be the generation that changes the world for ourselves and for the future generations, and changing it in a good way. In a good way that does good things for us and for other people. You know? Yeah, and I love it. The Real Mathferg says, I have learned that it has to be organic for me. Yes, I am now okay with it taking as long as it takes. Yes, that's how plants go. You don't beat up a plant for not blooming quickly. The bulbs that Laura Gibbon Voorhees is planting this fall will not even show up until, February, March, April of next year. But you know they're going to, you yelling at them every day is not going to help them bloom faster. Move forward at a pace that feels right to you. Okay? Now, JD says, this helped me so much. I want my workout space in the garage more than I want this thing and stuff. Yes. Notice you have a destination workout space. So what are the things, the physical things that are getting in the way of your transforming your garage into the workout space. The stuff that's in the way is the clutter. The stuff that just happens to be cluttering it up that you put that away and you actually use it. You know? Yep. Dedicating your totes for your niece and nephew. Yeah, and it's just it's seriously, and it's not even my stuff that I'm sharing with them. It's the stuff that I am just the temporary caretaker of. It's more like family heirlooms, but one tote divided by 3 kids, they'll have room for it. You know? Yeah, see? Cat Mama sold that family house of 65 years. My mom is still living in the house that she and my dad bought in 1969. She will never move out of it, so I'll be doing that too, but I'm already starting to do it now because I'm helping her declutter as we speak. Literally, I was on the phone with her yesterday. I've got emails out for people who are going to pick up some artwork that she doesn't want anymore. I'm helping her declutter her paperwork. I have gone physically up into her attic. I just to be very clear, I coach people one-on-one. I only coach people on Zoom, which makes it so flexible. As I said, I've got clients today from Virginia, from California, from Minnesota, and from New York. I couldn't do that in real life. I coach on Zoom, so wherever you are, if you want coaching. But I say this because the only person I help to declutter besides myself and my husband in real life is my mom. And if any of my friends would want help, I would help them in a heartbeat. But you have to want it. You have to want it. Yeah. Okay, so Judy says, many of my nieces, nephews, and daughters want new, not old things, even though there are memories. Okay, Judy, there are memories on those things for you. Are there memories on those things for them? Notice, if they don't feel that connection, that's okay. It's abstract to them. You have a memory of, oh my God, that's the butter dish that Grammy used. I have that memory because I can picture it on her table. Does my niece even know what her great-grandmother's table looked like? No, because that table did not exist by the time she was there. Yeah, they don't want your stuff, much like you don't want your mom's stuff. So let's not be resentful. Let's break the chain. Let's have some compassion for the people who are like, I see how that clutter made you feel, and I want no part of it. So many people, I grew up in a cluttered house. I tend to be, I guess, I'm not the minimalist. I guess of my siblings, I am the minimalist. But I am only that way because I got sick of the clutter and I wanted something different. Okay? So don't judge somebody for not wanting the stuff because you don't want it either. And release yourself from wanting it. Yeah, and I love it, Judy. Yeah, your daughters are spot on. Don't make me feel guilty. Don't make somebody else feel guilty. If you don't want to be guilted into something, do not then lay a guilt trip on somebody else. Break the chain. Change the trajectory of what's going on. I am not going to... Oh, my stupid phone. Okay. TikTok is saying I need to sign off, and I do because I have an 8 o'clock client. But what I will say to you is, you can change the things in your life that bug you. Clutter-wise and otherwise. I am here to help you with that. So how do you need help? You ask that question, you show up. If you want to find out at the next TikTok Live, sign up on my mailing list, and you'll know when my next TikTok Live is, okay? Follow my page, all that. Drop me a follow, as the kids say, and I'll see you the next time I do a TikTok Live, okay?